Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first Saturday Anything Goes in 2020. Can you believe that? 2020. I just know this has to be a good year for all of us. So, what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, not only is this the first Saturday Anything Goes of 2020, but it's also actually the second day that the mini catalog and Sale-A-Bration have gone live. Yay! So now instead of just teasing you with the cover, I can go in and show you any page I want to. Yay! There's lots of great stuff in the mini catalog. Tonight we're going to focus on Sale-A-Bration though, because you have heard me mention before that Sale-A-Bration this year has a whole lot more than I think it has in past years. And I told you that not only was there a stamp set, not only was there a die set that matched, but there's also designer series paper. Hey, Jean. So anyway, that's what we're going to work with tonight. All three of these products you can receive for free with qualifying purchases. And what's a qualifying purchase? Well, it tells you in here, if we look in our catalog, you'll see that there are some items that are free with a $50 purchase. Other items are free with a $100 purchase. So when you're in making your order for Stampin' Up! Goodies, it will actually prompt you once you get to that threshold to start selecting your Sale-A-Bration items. I like it. Okay, so there's lots of great stuff in here, but I wanted to go ahead and dive in to this week that has all three products that you can obtain for free, and that's the Lilypad set. So we have a Lilypad stamp set, Lilypad dies, and then on this page we have Lily Impressions Designer Series paper. So yep, that's what we're going to be doing tonight. So here I've got our stamp set. Our dies are here, and I really wanted to show you the designer series paper. Can you say gorgeous? Absolutely. So not only do we have some fantastic colors like Coastal Cabana, Petal Pink, Flirty Flamingo, Garden Green I think is in here, but, and I'm going to have to take this all the way out so I can show you because I love this paper. Some of them look kind of like they're watercolored. Others look like they're oil paintings. And not only does it capture the way oil painting looks, if you look in these sections, it actually looks like canvas. So to me, that just finishes off a card when you can make it look like it's an actual oil painting you did. And the back sides either will remind you of oil or acrylic painting, or like this one is so much fun. Remember finger painting? Yep, that's what that looks like to me. So beautiful designs, and just so many things that I can see using this for, not only cards, but 3D projects. So lovely papers. Tonight, though, we're going to work with this one. I just really love the Coastal Cabana and the way the water lilies just kind of pop off the page at you. So I've already done a little bit of the work ahead of time because I don't know about you, but my 2020 has already been pretty busy. So let me put this away and I'll bring in my goodie tray. And these are all the things that we're going to be using. So not only our lovely Lilypad stamp set and dies, I wanted a very romantic card. And for the sentiment, I came to it from our annual catalog, Forever Lovely. I mean, it is all about love. So yep, that's what we're going to choose. We'll also use an embossing folder on this. I want to kind of carry through that textured look of a canvas, and my Subtles embossing folder will do that for me. And I went ahead and already die cut out some of that paper I was talking about. Let me just pull it out here. So that's the oval we're going to be using. Flirty Flamingo is going to be our card base. And yes, it doesn't look very even, does it? Well, there's a reason for that, and we'll get into it. Our ink colors, we're going to stick with Coastal Cabana and Flirty Flamingo. I'll use the Flirty Flamingo light and dark blends. And I've already got my stamps mounted. So let's get after it. Hello, Tracy. I know, excited about that mini catalog, and it is a great one too. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, I'm going to put aside our base because I'm going to show you a really neat little edging technique. But first, I want to work on our main panel, and that's going to be out of Whisper White, and it measures, what does it measure here? 3 3/4 by 4 1/4 is what we're going to be using. I've got some extra Whisper White for some die cuts that we're going to be doing. But the first thing I want to do is I'm going to take this piece of Whisper White, which is going to be our focal panel, and I'm going to put it in the embossing folder. Now, normally you put your stuff in the embossing folder going up and down, right? So the pattern goes this way. Well, we're going to turn this because I actually want my pattern to look sideways. So this is going to be the, oops, let me pull it out here. This is my 3 3/4 edge. Let me make sure that, yep. And I want this, I want the pattern to run sideways. So I'm just going to stick it in like that to make sure I have it in the correct way. And then I'm going to run this through the Big Shot, and I finally found a good spot for my Big Shot that isn't going to wobble my table. So give me just a second here, and I'll be right back with that. I think you can still hear me okay. I just moved it onto a table behind me. Oops, come on, get in there, you. All right. So see, no camera wobbling. Oh my goodness. Come on, get through there. You can do it. Oh. Whew. There we go. Put that one aside. And here is our embossed piece. And if you can see, I've got the texture, oops, going sideways. So that is going to help it look like canvas. Okay. Now, how are we going to work on this? Images that I'm going to be using, first of all, this is going to go on just like that. Okay. And we're going to do some die cuts and a sentiment across the top. But I can go ahead and glue down this piece, and I'm going to do that so I don't lose it under something, because you know me, my desk, well, let's just say you can always tell I've been crafting. All right, so let me just get that down, and I'm putting it more towards the right than the center, and that's to give room for the die cuts and the sentiment. All right, so I can put that aside. I have another piece of Whisper White. Here is where we're going to do some stamping. So I'll open up my Flirty Flamingo, move this aside for a minute. And basically what I want to do is I'm going to stamp 2 of these larger water lilies, although they're not the biggest. I mean, look at how big the biggest is, but that was just a little too big for what we're doing. So I will stamp 2 of these big ones. And then there's a little bud. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. So that's, other than the sentiment, that's all the stamping, and we don't need that color anymore. Now, dies, Linda, where are the dies? I'm going to, hello, there they are. Nope, that's my ovals. But I know it's my dies. I just had them. Oh my goodness gracious. That's right. It does look like a mess on my desk. There they are at the very bottom. I love these dies. They're so, so pretty. And you have dies that will cut out your image. So we definitely need this one and this one. But you also have an intricate die here that you're not going to stamp necessarily to use it because it doesn't really fit any of the stamps. This is just so you can cut it out of cardstock and just have a nice design. So we won't be using that one tonight, but let me get these set up to go through the Big Shot. And I'm going to use a little bit of tape because my magnets will move these around. So my tape here, right there. And I'm just using some Post-it tape. I like it because it's just tacky enough to stick well without me worrying about ripping my paper. So I'll do that, and then at the same time I can go ahead and cut out. That's not the right die. Come here, you. That's the right die. All righty. So just, it does take just a moment to line these up, but it is so worth you taking that little bit of time. You'll get a much better result. Okay, I'll be right back. Going to put these through. And they cut really nicely. So only one shot through, one shot through the Big Shot. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You only have to take it through once. However, I have 2 of these big flowers. So, and you know what? I probably should have colored these before I cut them out. So before I cut this last one out, let's just go ahead and do that. I'm just so excited to show you guys this that I'm getting ahead of myself. Coloring them is very, very easy. I'm using both the light and the dark of the Flirty Flamingo. Hello, Danette. Hi, Linda. Hello, Kathy. So I always start out with my lighter color first. And I'm not being super careful. I just want to lay in a base. And the flower's kind of big, but I think I can get this all in one go and still have the shading look good. So, all right, then I'm going to come back in here with my dark. And wherever my petals overlap, like right here, there would naturally be a shadow in that area. So that's all I'm going to do is pick out those areas that would have a shadow. Right there and there. And let's see, is that all of them? And then I'll come back in. And when I blend these out, I'm not taking it all the way up to the top of where I shaded. I want some of that natural lightness on the tips to stay there. All right, I see a spot I missed right here. So just blend that out. And then at the base, I know I want a little bit of darkness at my base. And just draw that up a little. All right. So just go in, and wherever you feel you need a little more shadow, don't be afraid to put it in. So that's our first one. This one's going to be easy because I can just scribble all over it. Taking care, you'll notice it does leave a little white border around your die cuts. And for this particular flower, I really like that, especially with what we're going to be doing with it. We do need to have some lightness there. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. Wherever they overlap or hide behind another petal is where you're going to want your shadows. I love doing this. The granddaughters were here last weekend, and we had so much fun. I was showing them how to do coloring with the blends. And they're both very artistic naturally, so we always have fun. I even talked my sister-in-law into making a card. All right, so almost done with this one. And remember, you can always come back after it's dried if you see spaces where you want more color. So our last one is our little itty bitty. Yeah, do color these before you cut them out. It'll make your life a lot easier. And here there's fewer places where the petals overlap, but I still want to be sure that I am highlighting those, or darkening those, I guess you would say. Playing with colors, always so much fun. All right. So that is all of the blending that we're going to do. Let me cut this final one out. And then we'll get to putting the card together. So again, I want to be careful to line it up because I'll show you on this one. This was lined up really well, so the white space around it is even on all sides, and that's what you really want. All right, once more through the Big Shot. And then we'll be done with our die cutting. Snap, crackle, and pop. Okie dokie. Let's see if I did as good a job on this one as I did the other one. Not too shabby. I think that looks just fine. All right. Now that we have these all die cut, and let me put these away real quick so I don't lose them, as I don't have them on my magnetic sheets yet. That's a project for tomorrow. Okay. So we'll bring everything back out. This is how it's going to go together. So this panel is going to go right in the middle of this. But I mean, I really like the Flirty Flamingo along with Whisper White, but I thought it really needed a frame. So I took the Coastal Cabana, which is one of the colors in the bit I cut out, and I'm going to glue that down and then attach it. And I've got a little bit here that's a bit wonky, so if you ever see that, just don't be afraid to snip it off. Sometimes when you put Whisper White through an embossing folder, it can stretch the fibers a little bit. But that looks good, so let's glue that down. So has everybody had a good New Year start? We really didn't do much. My granddaughters threw me a surprise birthday party Monday, and it was so much fun. They are quite the event planners. And then hubby's ramp got installed on Monday, so now he's able to get in and out of the house with the wheelchair. So now we're looking for a power wheelchair for him. Then I think we're going to be done. All right, so let's put this together. I know I'm going to straight glue down some of it, but I want a little bit of dimension, so I'll bring the dimensionals out. And then how do I want to do this? Well, I think my main flower I want to pop up. So let's see how this would look. If I have one there, if I pop that one up, and then we've got this little guy here. Now, do I like him over that back one, or do I want to hide him? Up, over it is. Okay. So I know this is going to go right there in that exact position. So right there. And then we want this guy to be here. But before I do that, I think I'm going to put this one up on dimensionals. And that will tell me how far in I want to put my little bud. So just a few dimensionals here. So have any of you ordered already from the mini catalog and Sale-A-Bration? Didn't take me long, I can tell you that. Okay, so we've got that there, and he or she is going to slip right in there. I like that. That's a nice balance. Okay, so we're done with our blends. I think leave the dimensionals out, because now what I want to work on is our sentiment. And for our sentiment, as I mentioned, I'm going to take it from the Forever Lovely. So many pretty ones. I think You Are Loved is the one I want, though. It's going to fit well within that space. So, oh, I already have it out. Duh. So it's right there. So let me get a piece of Whisper White. Hello, hello. There's my extra Whisper White. There it is. I'm going to stamp it on this, and let's do that in Coastal Cabana. I do want a little bit more of that beautiful greenish blue. So I'll just ink that up. And let's see, can I fit it if I go this way? Yes, I can. Let me make sure it stamps well. There we go. Okay. Sometimes you can get an air bubble in there that makes it difficult. Right there. And I'm really not too worried about is it straight or not, because I'm going to cut this out. I'm not going to use a die. I am going to do some fussy cutting. There are times when a straight piece or a rectangle or even a little circle sentiment looks good. I want this to kind of spread out over it. And I could use a rectangle, but because I have an oval, didn't want to mix and match. So let me show you how I'm going to hand cut this. So I just start, actually let's start right here. And all I'm going to do is follow the letters and turn the paper rather than your scissors so that you can follow along. And I'm not going to get too fancy, but I do want to make sure. This is the tricky part right here, is getting in there and getting a little bit of a line before I go back up into a circle here. And remember, you can take off more if you need to. So just be careful you're not getting too close to the lines if you do decide to ever fussy cut one of your sentiments out. Okay, this is going to be a little tricky here. I want to make sure I get far enough in. There we go. That's better. And then just pull it around. And about here is where I just cut it off, because there's no way I'm going to get that paper to circle all the way around again. Now, do I want to come down into the Y or just go over the top? I'm going to go down into it a little bit. Hello, Miss Weenie. What you doing, huh? You're fine. You're fine. It's time for her nighttime treat, she says. All right, almost done with this. And there we go. Now let me show you why I elected to do that. I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals, and it's going to leave a beautiful little shadow. It's also going to go over my oval just a little bit, but I really, really like the way that looks. So let me get some mini dimensionals here, because I have a couple of small spaces like there. Nope, you can see that one. Come here, you. There we go. I love using the mini dimensionals, but I'm always worried that they're going to end up showing through. Now I can place a couple of regular sized ones. And because this is kind of a long one, I do want to give it some good support. I'm going to cut that dimensional down a little bit. Okay, there we go. And then one more small one ought to do it. Okay. Let's put this on. The weather's just been so pretty here. It's cool and a bit breezy, but the sun has finally come out. We had 2 days of rain that was pretty incredible. So it was good to see that sun. All right. I'm going to use my reverse tweezers. If I can unstick it from my finger. Ooh, good pack of dimensionals there. All right. Oh, for pity's sake, let go. Okay, pardon my head if it gets in the way, but I want to get this, let me pull it down a little. I want to get this as straight as possible on the first try. Come back there, you. All right. So I'm thinking right about there. And I'm just going to let it go. Pick it up. I haven't pressed down yet. So if I need anything to come up, I can just grab it and lift it. So let's try that again. There we go. That looks good. So now I'll press it down. Fabulous. Now you say, Linda, we're ready to put this on there, right? Nope, not quite. We're about done with this panel, but we have this kind of naked edge down here, right? So this is a standard 4 1/4, 5 1/2, but then I took off, how much did I take off? About 3/4 of an inch off of the front part. Let me show you why. I love it when you have a beautiful decorative edge that looks very lacy. Well, again, this is from our Lilypad dies. It has this really fun die that I was playing around with. Now, let me see if I need a piece of paper that's long enough. So let me get into my Whisper White pile here. I know, big piece, but, and what I'm going to do is, oh, look at that. That is perfect. So I'm going to run this through. Let me just chop off. I don't need quite as much paper. Let me run this through the Big Shot. I'll be right back, and you're going to see the magic. I don't know. You guys will have to tell me. Is it good not having the camera shake? Or when I turn away to do my die cutting, does my voice fall too much? Because I really want to get some feedback on this new setup. What works for me might not necessarily be good for the video. So drop me a comment and let me know if this is working or if the other way was better. Oops. Okay. So here we have our, and I could use my die brush on this, but it'll only take a minute because it cut really nice. I just have a few areas that didn't fall out. So I'll just quickly go through and release them. I actually like doing this. I know, I'm weird. I like popping out the little pieces. You know, I'm always looking at new crafting things to do. For Christmas, my son and daughter-in-law had one of our wedding photos made into a diamond painting picture that my daughter-in-law then took the time to go put in all of those little diamonds or drills, I guess they call them. And it is so sparkly and so beautiful. And so, you know, me sitting there like I don't have enough to do already. Do I want to take on something like that? I'm going to think about it for a while because some days I have a lot of patience and other days I barely have the attention span to put a card together. So don't know if it would be a good investment. All right, so that's our die. And here is how it's going to go on. So it has this nice stripe down the middle where I can put glue on and attach it to the bottom of this. And look at that, it's going to be beautiful. Let's do that. I'll open it up so I don't glue it to the back of the card base. I'm just going to use a little glue. It doesn't take a ton. And then it's actually easier for me if I lay that down, make sure I got the short side, yes I do, and then match it up this way. Right about there. And then I turn it over, and if there's any squidging I need to do or any trimming that I need to do, I can do it. All right, but there we go. And look at how beautiful that is. Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, now we're ready to put our focal panel on. But as you can see, that might have been really hard to do if I had waited to do it until after I had put it on. All right, so do I want to glue it straight down or do I want dimension? I think I'm just going to glue it straight down. It's got a lot going on. So I think we're fine with just gluing it straight down. Like so. Bring this over more center in the screen here. Now I'm just lining it up with my grid paper, trying to leave a pretty even border all the way around. And I think we got it. So the last thing is, you know, I got to have some bling. Need some bling. So I've got our Noble Peacock rhinestones. And do I want to use the greenish color or the pink? The only way I'm going to know is to kind of see. So the greenish would look like that. I don't think the pink is the right color is the problem. Yeah, no. We'll do it with the greenish. That'll look good. And I think I'm just going to put 3 in a line at the bottom. Just like that. Now, you know I never put a sentiment on the inside until I know who it's going to. And that's going to be the same with this one. But I did want to tell you something. When you're cutting your inside panel, take into account that the front piece is shorter. So I would make my inside panel probably be the same as my focal point, and that would be 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. And that way you know that it's not going to peek through your little decorative edge. All right, so you know, one more. Wink of Stella. My lilies need to be dressed up a little. Who doesn't like some sparkle? Just kind of gives a finishing touch. I also thought about maybe using some crystal accents, but that takes a long time to dry, so I decided just to go with the Wink of Stella. All right, so that is the project that I wanted to show you for tonight. Now, how does it stand? Since you've got the back longer than the front, it still stands. I know it's hard for you to see, but these little points rest easily on the surface that you're setting it on to help prop it up. All right. Well, I hope you guys loved the project. Like I said, Sale-A-Bration is going on, and there are, look at this stuff. Before we get to the finale, which I know y'all are waiting for, let me just quickly run through this. The gang's all meerkats, right? So cute. Yep, got that one. And then I've already shown you the lily stuff. There is metallic baker's twine and sequins combo pack. Happy birthday. This I have seen colored, oh my gosh, so beautifully. There's a really nice card kit, the kerchief card kit, that looks like it would make some really easy and fun cards. And then there's this, if you look in the mini catalog, there's a bee stamp set. Yeah, it is adorable. Okay, and you can see some of the images here, but you can get the Specialty Designer Series paper for free with the qualifying purchase. And then sending you thoughts, we all need as many sentiment stamps, right? Because you're always looking for a new one. This will be the next thing I get, will be the Thoughtful Blooms and the Small Bloom Punch. I miss not having a small flower punch, so I was happy to see that. And then for host, they can get this Power of Hope stamp set and 3D embossing folder. And then Little Ladybug. If you're going on and you, this is a host set, you have enough in sales to get this as a host set, you're going to have to manually key it in because it's not going to show up if you do a search. So just make sure you've got the number there. And that's it for Sale-A-Bration. And I'll save the mini catalog to go through some of it on our next go around. All right, but now for the moment you've all been waiting for. I said that I was going to do a giveaway because you all have been wonderful and helped me reach my goal on YouTube of 1,000 subscribers. So I'm going to be giving the winner out this basket weave 3D embossing folder, which is really neat. But I also wanted to have another one. One's not enough. You guys are great. So I wanted to give everybody a chance to win possibly the Designer Series paper. And for this Designer Series paper, this is from the Best Dressed suite. And I'm just going to send someone out a sampling. This is not all of the patterns, but just a nice sampling. It really is a lovely Designer Series paper. I love all the polka dots and stripes, but the flowers, of course, are beautiful too. So I'm going to be giving one lucky person that as a prize. All right, so let's get to it. First of all, the Big Shot embossing folder goes to Jean Shoot. Congratulations, Jean. I know you're on here tonight. And then the Designer Series paper goes to Linda Sears. So if you will just private message me what your address is, I will get this out to you early next week so that you can get your hands on it. And thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. You have no idea how much it means to me to have your support, especially as difficult a year as this has been. Being able to come on here and do my Facebook Lives with you has truly saved my sanity and saved me from being an absolute shut-in, only talking to the grocery person or the UPS guy or the mail lady. So I do appreciate that you join me when you can on Saturday nights. All right, I'll stop with all the mush. Again, if you're a winner, private message me your address so I can get it out to you. I'll wrap it up for tonight. I hope you enjoyed the card, and I hope you have a blessed day tomorrow. We'll see y'all next Saturday. Bye now.